This is Red Moon Role-Playing.
Everything over the past few days has been a whirlwind for the three of you, our three SLA Operatives. You recently graduated from a university, an academy, more or less, for would-be slops. People like you, people who are trained to kill, investigate, kill again, do things for the benefit of the masses, the people who live within Mort City. Ostensibly, you are doing what you're doing, becoming slops to keep the world safe, the world of progress. You are its servants, its guardians, its champions. And yet you're still really not sure what you're doing. Because you have only just graduated in a class of thousands. Different of you have different packages that you have become trained in. You have been kitted out with your bursary, essentially, your simplest of equipment, and with the credits that you may have been given on top of that, you've equipped yourself slightly better still. But you are lost. You have had your briefing, and then your debriefing. You've been given your SCL badge to identify who you are by name and what your SCL ranking is. And right now your SCL ranking is about as low as it can get. It's an SCL 10. The only way is up or down. It's a rather bureaucratic process to work your way up or down through the system of SLA Industries. SLA Industries, of course, is a company, as well as your protector, your mentor, your mother and your father. SLA Industries is the corporation that was founded in the image and under the name of Mr. Slayer, the individual single-handedly responsible for bringing order to the world of progress. Back then, it wasn't the world of progress. Back then, there was hundreds of conflict races, war worlds, places that were just being blown up, mass slaughter, none of it for profit. Mr. Slayer found a way of changing that, and at its heart, Mort, and then within it, Mort City. Mort City is where we will be starting our adventure, this dystopian metropolis, where the rain never stops, the skies are ever overcast, everyone's televisions are constantly blaring out volume and flashing images, usually brutal ones. Mort City is divided up a little like a pizza. At its very centre is head office. You don't go there unless you have a very good reason. And on the exterior of head office you have Uptown. That's where the finest people live and the finest stores can be found. It's also where Slayer's crib happens to be, a BPN hall where you will be picking up your first mission. Beyond that you have upper downtown and lower downtown. And downtown is where things start getting a bit weird. The farther out from head office you go, the worse things get. It's not just a flat pizza. This isn't some New York flat, disgusting piece of wafer. This is a Chicago deep dish. It goes down and down and down and down and down. So there are layers on top of layers, some collapsed into each other, some still standing. And the deeper down you go into downtown, well, as I say, I've used the word weird. I think terrifying is appropriate there. Downtown is cut off from the world beyond via something called the Wall. It's an appropriate name because that's what it is. It's a wall that stretches up, all the way up, from ground level, even farther than the edge of downtown, and it separates downtown from the cannibal sectors. Because at one point downtown was supposed to expand much wider than it does right now. According to some stories, it did. But those districts, those sectors, collapsed for various reasons that your characters are going to be unaware of at this time, and are now the homes of, well, feral beings, shall we say. It's not just called cannibal sectors because that's a pithy name. Nevertheless, you've been overloaded with all this information. When you emerged from university, you were told, report to Slayer's crib on this day. As a squad, you will be given your first BPN, blueprint news file, your first mission. You will be given something important, befitting your skills. Do Mr. Slayer proud. Do Slay Industries proud. Make the world of progress proud of your actions and your accomplishments. And so now the three of you, after that rather lengthy introduction, stand at the foot of the grand staircase leading up into the enormous Slayer's Crib BPN Hall. You are not the only ones here. Every fresh graduate from many universities is filing in and out, joining the queues to pick up their very first BPN, what could be their ticket to the big time, because Third Eye News is always watching, along with Slaughterhouse, Gore Zone, and other such popular TV channels that wants to pick up your successes and your failures. Let's find out who you are playing, and you can give as much or as little description of your characters as you see fit at this time. But we know that you're already in the same squad, which means you are probably acquainted at many university. Let's start with you, Bridgett. Who are you playing?
I am playing Opal, which is a race of the Ebonites, or Ebons, I suppose, for short. For the most part, I look human. There are a few distinguishing characteristics that set me apart from standard humans. One, my eyes are... how would you actually describe this? Help me out. Throw me a bone here on this one.
Pupilless?
Pupilless actually works. I love it. With brightly fluorescent colored hair. The hair activates, at least like the smaller hairs on her arms or her eyebrows, all activate the same color when certain powers are enacted, because you all know that as an Ebonite I have access to, and then send help again, Matthew.
The Ebb.
The Ebb, yes. Which Opal will explain in as simplest terms to most people. If you don't understand it inherently, you're never going to learn it scholastically, so just leave it into the control of people who understand it. She has a very sisterly, borderline motherly approach to those that she is squatted with. Mostly because she understands that she is the connective tissue between those who are exceptionally well at talking or those who are especially trained in brawling or bashing. Yes, I can fire a pistol. Yes, I can brawl. Yes, I can communicate. I am proficient in those things, but my strongest contribution to this squad will be amplifying those aspects in other people. I read a study not too long ago that said if you have an Ebonite in your squad, the success rate increases by 14%. So I plan to embody and support that 14% to help our squad.
I mean, that does increase the percentage chance to 15%, so I think we're looking quite good here. Opal, yes, as you mentioned, you are an Ebonite. The Ebonites are one of the very few peoples in the world of progress who can access what some Luddites might consider magic. The Ebb is a way of manipulating reality in a way that very few other creatures can understand. And the Ebonites' relationship with Slay Industries and the world of progress, which is the name for the broader universe as Slay Industries controls it, is, well, one of, shall we say, servile gratitude. According to the stories in Ebonite culture, they were at one point a people that were solely the possession of another people, the Momics, or Momics. No one really knows how to pronounce it these days because they have all been wiped out, apparently. Slay Industries, under Mr. Slayer, had a choice to make. Make a deal with the Momics and use their grand psychic powers to assist the world of progress's development, or make a deal with the Ebonites, who would become beholden to Slay Industries by their freedom. And so Slay Industries swooped in like saviour angels, broke the Momic hold over the Ebonites, freed them all, and said, "Would you like a job with us?" And so many an Ebonite, including Opal, has come to work for Slay Industries because, well, you owe this company. Your ancestors owe this company. Your descendants will owe this company. But it's not quite the same as being owned by a Momic. How about you, Matthias? Who are you playing as?
I'm playing Gaul, 2.5 meters tall, biogenetically grown, a 313 Malice Stormer, all muscle and violence. My face is grotesque and looks a bit like a skinned horse with its face peeled back, revealing a huge racer tooth-filled mouth with no lips. This means that I'm constantly drooling. Hanging by my side is my most prized asset, the Chuckle Duster. Half Knuckle Duster, half Chainsaw, all death. So yeah, that's me, Gaul. I was created to rip and tear, to torture, intimidate, and destroy, and I love that more than anything else. Just going off on one. That's what I do.
Oh, indeed, you were created for exactly that purpose, Gaul. You were not born to a mother or father. You were spawned in a vat or a cylinder in a lineup with probably hundreds of other Stormers at the exact same time, many of whom probably shared your initial appearance, though, of course, all Malice Stormers come to customize their appearance by some means or other, whether it's the coloring of their hair, a ritual scar or tattoo. Of course, tattoos are quite difficult to apply to Stormers because they have a natural regenerative factor. It's what makes Stormers such proficient combatants. If you are ever going up against the enemy, whether it is a carnivorous pig, a cannibal, or the terrorist forces of Dark Knight, send the Stormer in first. They can take a few hits, and then, if they can get to safety, they'll regenerate them almost as fast as they were inflicted. Now, that leaves us with our third squad mate. Craig, who are you playing as?
Today I shall be playing Sasana Krop Farok Khazad, or Sasan, as I feel some people struggle with the full name there. It's not their fault. Not many have the same sort of education as I do. I, after all, am a Neophron, and our avian species are, compared to some these days, quite civilized. We prefer to negotiate and to learn rather than brutally murder, but sadly, sometimes that is a necessity. Still, I am a typical Neophron, slender in frame, not really built for combat, with blue plumage and bluish eyes and a long beak with a little bit of red in it. I am here to improve myself and to maybe even improve the lives of Mort City citizens. Maybe. That might not happen, but I could definitely improve myself, and who knows, a little bit of fame on the big screen wouldn't be unappreciated. I am skilled in investigation interrogation. That is my package, and these are things that I feel are a good start to any situation. Violence might come afterwards, but at least we can always try and simmer things down over a cup of some beverage.
Indeed. Neophrons are almost savants in the way that they are gifted in the school of socializing, intimidation, interrogation, and persuasion. Some are even more than adequate seducers. Sasana Krop is one of their finest students. There aren't that many Neophron that are sent to Many University. They are still a minority in Mort City, and as one of the most recent conflict races to fall under the banner of the World of Progress. And so there are some individuals who see Neophron with suspicion, but all they have to do is hear your charming tone, listen to your persuasive arguments for just a little while, and they will start to see your way of things. It is very likely, Sasana Krop, that you will be doing most of the talking for this squad. And it's a good job that you can recognise your own capacity for charisma, because as you mentioned, not just the big screen, but the small screen and the radio, they're all watching, they're all listening. They want to make you stars. You heard about it all the time at Many University, and before you were there, when you were growing up, the only people who really mattered that were on TV were SLA Operatives, sometimes contract killers, but mostly SLA Operatives. SLA Operatives who were going out defending Mort City, defending the World of Progress, and killing people in utterly ruthless, gory fashion to win Kill of the Week awards and sponsorship deals with their chosen weapon supplier. These are the people you want to be. You want to be the face of the company. And the only way you can do that is by getting a BPN. The size of Slayer's crib before you is daunting. You've never been in a building this size before. The rain is constantly spattering upon your head and shoulders. Luckily here in Uptown it isn't too corrosive. You don't need to have an umbrella up. But the longer you stand out here, the more saturated you're going to become.
Indeed. And I think I'm going to do my best to head in then. Again, all this rain is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Definitely different from the deserts where I grew up, but it does get a little bit tiresome sometimes, so I'd rather be out of it.
Your two squad mates following you in. Opal, Gaul, are you joining Sasana Crop in Slayer's crib?
I look around at all these other slops that have gathered around here, and I'm trying to see if there's anyone who wants to fight, maybe. But then I think better of it, and I decide to follow the bird.
Yeah, there are signs pinned to the walls here that say "No fighting!" underlined. And if you think you need to fight, take it outside. There are all kinds of stories about Slayer's crib. When fights break out, a couple of things might happen. 1, you might be ejected. 2, you might be arrested. That's less likely. The Shivers, that's the cops who patrol Mort City in their rather horrifying Reaper-like armour. They are on a lower rung to Slops. Slops are like a paramilitary organisation with celebrity popularity. Shivers are, well, they're cops. They have all the popularity that cops have. And as far as most slops are concerned, Shivers are the equivalent of mall security to police. So you probably don't respect them much, and they probably don't have much power over you unless they're out in force. The good news is, if you're at the back of a queue in Slayer's crib, if you start a big enough fight, what they say might happen is Slayer's crib gets evacuated, and then everyone gets to reform the line, meaning your chances of getting to the front of the queue have improved just from random lottery. But that is a bit of a risk. You could end up pissing off a lot of people by just starting a random brawl, hoping that you'll end up 30 places ahead. Patience may be the buzzword here.
Fortunately, that's not my strong side, but, well, I'll just have to power through it.
Opal, are you heading in as well?
I'm going to be very intentional about being behind Gaul, because that is one individual I don't want to be on the front end of in the event that he is activated. I'll also be following behind Sasenkrop, but the one thing I do want to just take notice of, Matthew, is as I'm looking around at these other squads that are coming together and like forming their parties or introducing each other or just in the proximity, how does our squad compare to like the majority of what I'm seeing? Because we have a conflict race, which plays well in our favor. We have an Ebonite, which plays well in our favor. And we have this magnificent creature of violence. I'm just kind of doing an assessment of like, how fast do I think we can tick up that SCL based on our party contribution right now, or our party composition right now?
Well, your squad, if it looks like anything compared to the others assembled here, is small. It's pretty rare for a squad to have fewer than 4 people in, but there is a benefit to it if you can survive, and that is your credit payments for every single BPN you take on. They will sometimes be paid per operative. Other times they will be paid per squad. The smaller the squad, the greater the credits to each of you. So the question is really one of getting the right BPNs so that you get paid best. In terms of going up in SCL ratings, and again, up is down because you're trying to get as close to 1 as possible, and it isn't as easy as just going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Oh, no. But don't worry, the person at the BPN desk will tell you all about that. It's a lovely bureaucratic procedure, because in Mort City, everything is a lovely bureaucratic procedure. I'll tell you something else. As you join the end of the queue, which is like a winding security queue entering a major American airport for international travellers, not you Americans returning home who get to take the shortcut. Complete with the hostile welcome from the people trying to serve you and the impatience of everyone else who's queuing up trying to catch a connecting flight. Well, this queue probably has about 2,000 people in it. It's a badly air-conditioned, ill-resourced, as in there are vending machines near the door, but you're not going to get any more further in. And water is scarce. Everyone here is restless. Most of them want their very first BPN. Unfortunately, rules are rules. This is the first place you have to get a BPN. When you have completed your first BPN, you can start going to BPN machines, punch your details in, they'll spit one out. Sometimes they're reliable, sometimes they'll send you on suicide missions. That's, a lottery. Sometimes the machines get hacked and all hell breaks loose. Or you can befriend people from certain departments. The Department of Requisitions, for instance, the Department of Retirement, the Department of War, the Department of Risk. If you go to places like that, you could, take BPNs directly into hand, but that isn't where you are yet. This is your very first mission, and you're in this interminable queue, and you are waiting, and you are waiting, and you are waiting. Hours pass by. Your legs are aching. Well, Gaul's legs aren't aching. This is painful. As you reach a corner, there's a voice from outside the roped-off area. Excuse me, pals. You new here? I don't recognize the three of you. You together? You and you squads? It's a man with a hat, a sort of pork pie hat upon his head. He has a grey blazer on that has badges up the lapels. He puts a hand out for one of you to shake, is moving it between the three of you rather fast. He looks a little animated.
What a fascinating man. I will reach forward to shake his hand with my taloned hand and say, well, I suppose you could say we are a new squad. Pleasure. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
Well, it's a pleasure for me, sir, to shake the hand of a neophront. You may be the first talons I've ever gripped, and I have to say you've got a firm grip there, sir. I wouldn't like to assume. But my name is Mongo Mingus. I'm an agent. I'm looking to represent new squads such as yours. I can see you're fresh off the boat, as it were. You came straight from Many University, queuing up here in Slayer's Crib, like all these young hopefuls, and I'm here to offer you a deal. You see that queue in front of you? You're going to be here for another 5 hours. You don't want to be here for another 5 hours. You want to get straight onto the business, right? You want to get straight onto TV, right? Well, I can be your ticket, your hot meal ticket. And let me shake your teammates by the hand. Come on. He puts his hand out to you, Opal.
I extend my hand out as well. I smile at him. Why did you approach this particular squad versus the others?
Well, boy, oh boy, do I have a deal for you, you see, because there's 3 of you and I've got a squad that's perfect for a threesome. That's right. I need 3 people, a trio, that's right, to go, well, I can't give you too many details, see, but I got a BPN. It's burning a hole in my pocket, and it takes you all the way to District 11 in downtown. Not many people going down there, especially not many first-time squads. I tell you, it's a place to make a name for yourself. It's a place to really get some action. And what's more, it's a Third Eye News sponsored deal, so you're going to get a camera crew following you down there right there, and that means any action you get into, pow, you're going to get straight on the TV. Your name in lights. I can imagine it now. Chat show deal, sponsorship, all kinds of things once you take on this deal. Either that or you can stand in the queue for the next 8 hours. I don't know. It's your choice. I don't like to push, but the queue is very slowly moving and I'll lose sight of you very soon, so I'm on the clock.
Well, this being is utterly fascinating, but I'm not one to be easily swayed by another's words, not when I normally do it. I'd like to get a little assessment of this individual as I tilt my avian head. Is he above board? Does this actually seem like a genuine offer, or is this some sort of trick or scam? A waste of our time?
What skill do you have here for, let's say, reading someone?
So, let's see. So, there's detection, although that might not be what we're looking for.
No, we can go for detect. That is absolutely fine. So if you roll 1d10 first, Craig, this is your success die, and you can add your bonus to it. What you're trying to get here is I'll go for a 10 or above.
Then that is a 7 plus 4. So 7, 8, 9, 11.
Excellent. So now you look at your ranks. That's your skill dice, essentially. And you add 1 to that. So how many ranks do you have in Detect?
3.
Okay, so you'll be rolling 4 dice. So you'll be rolling, 3 plus your 1 freebie. And you'll be adding your bonus to those as well. Each additional one is going to give you an extra piece of insight into Mongo Mingus, Agent at Large.
Right, so I think my lowest result was a 4. That we were plus 7 is still 10.
Yeah.
And all the others are quite a bit above 10, so I think that's 4.
This guy is, well, there's lots of words for a guy like this. He's a shyster, a huckster, a fraud, a cheat. He's also an agent. He is certainly honest about being an agent. He wouldn't be here meddling with slops if he wasn't. It's a good way of getting yourself killed. But more likely than not, he is preying on first-timers like you so that he can set you up with some god-awful BPN that no one else wants. And he's probably going to gouge you in terms of his, let's say, credit fee. Agents take a cut. That is what they do. They don't just do these things for free. But that doesn't mean you wouldn't be able to negotiate him. This is an 8-hour queue at his estimate. It could last longer. If there's a fight ahead of you, remember, the entire hall might end up being emptied and then you have to start again. So it's your choice. You don't have to go along with him. You could try persuading him to give you a decent deal. It's your choice here, Sasana Crop. And of course, Opal and Gaul, feel free to weigh in.
I'll let the man speak for a while, and then just nod politely and say, "My dear fellow, you certainly drive a good point, but I do feel we need to have a little quick discussion, me and my cohorts. You wouldn't just have one of us make all the decisions. Would you just give us..."
Well, that's the way it works, see? I know this is your first time out of many university. I can see you've still got the polish on you, the end of your beak. But listen, you're here, and what happens is a squad nominates a leader. A squad leader. It's not a democracy. The squad leader makes the decisions for the squad. I'm not saying that you, sir, needs to speak for your companions, but I'm just trying to remove the scales from your eyes. I don't want you to get confused or misled by anyone up to Q, see? I want you to take the deal from me and realize it's a good deal. I'm offering you a good deal. My name isn't Mongo Mingus. You doubt his name is Mongo Mingus. The queue is moving very, very slowly. Frankly, you're surprised he has even had time to breathe yet.
I gesture quickly to Opal and Gaul and say quietly, "Well, dear friends, this individual is certainly trying to take us for a run. He's probably going to dramatically undercut us and throw us into a very unworthwhile first job, but there is opportunity. What do you two say?"
If I have to wait any longer, I'm going to kill someone.
I bet you would, Gaul. I bet you would. What about you, Opal? What do you think? Bit of negotiation. We might be able to get something, but we will have to negotiate.
My nose wrinkles and I smile at Gaul because that was so exceptionally Gaul of him to say. And also I'm anticipating the same from him. I am going to look back at Sassenkrop because she always says your entire name the entire time. If we can negotiate a better compensation, it may be worth our while. Especially if this is a mission that no one else wishes to take on. Also, there are ways that we can leverage this individual. How he made it past security and is moving up and down this queue is rather impressive. So he does have at least a minimum skill set that could be of value to us. Also, I am more than happy to encourage others in this queue to make his life very, very uncomfortable if he doesn't negotiate in a way that you choose.
I like the way you speak, Opal. Well said, well said. A charming Ebonite if I've ever met one.
You see that I've already turned around to Mongo, not wanting to be left out of the handshaking. So I grab Mongo's hand rather forcefully. I'm not sure that Gaul truly understands just how strong he really is.
Oh, hey, watch it there, good fella. That's the hand I play my trumpet with, huh? If you could at least leave 3 of the fingers intact, that would.
I stare at him, and there's drool dripping down, forming a little pool there on the floor.
He stops himself from wiping the drool from your chin.
A pleasure. It doesn't sound very natural when I say that, but Gull is genuinely attempting here to be polite, and it goes about as well as you might expect.
Hey, you're very erudite for a Stormer, he says. They breeding you different these days, coming out the vats with all kinds of highfalutin talk, I'm guessing.
I tap my chuckle duster at at my hip, and I say, "You get me a sponsorship from Gash?"
Well, you see, Gash sponsorships, they're hard to come by, but if you want to get one, I'm the person to go through. Because if I get you on this BPN, it's caught on camera, woo-wee, you send it straight to Third Eye News, it'll get all over the TV, and then Gash will be calling you. I won't even have to get in touch with them, but of course I'll take my cut because I'm your agent.
Of course you'll take your cut. But, well, what I would suggest, sir, is that maybe we negotiate that cut. You see, we are
That suits me. Let's step out of the queue. If you step out of the queue right now, we can take it over outside and we can make a deal there. But you see, if you stay in the queue, we're going to lose each other because I can't keep up with you. I'm on the outside, see? There's a rope between you and me. But if you step out, we can have a chat. But I understand stepping out means you won't be in the queue no more, so you're making a bit of a commitment. But I promise you right now, when my name is Mongo Mingus, it will be worth your while.
All right then, team. I suppose let's do some negotiations, and I will swiftly step out.
I'm still holding Mongo's hand. Then I release it and I also step out. Sponsorship.
Thank you. Yeah. The squad that was queuing up behind you, you hear a Wraithen that was at the front. About fucking time. And they fill the 2 yards that you have vacated. That probably feels like progress.
Right then, Mr. Mongo Mingus, lead the way.
Sure. Let me take you outside. We'll find some cover, of course. We'll stand under the overhang. How about that? Would you like a sandwich? I can go as far as a sandwich. I'll feed you all, get you all a cup of water. You've been in here for how many hours now? I bet you're damn thirsty.
I'm fine, but maybe Gaul would like a sandwich. Would you like a sandwich, Gaul?
Yes.
They got Piggy Wiggy, real Piggy Wiggy in that vending machine over there. That's about the finest pork imitation meat you can get this side of head office.
I love Piggy Wiggy.
Me too. Who doesn't love Piggy Wiggy? Oh, look, they got some Mr. Minis in there as well. You can sprinkle them on top. It makes for a refreshing ham and mint cocktail. He pushes a few buttons. A rather old and sad-looking sandwich pops out. It looks comically small in your claw. You could probably swallow it in one bite.
I take small nibbles from it, taking my time, and drool just runs down the sandwich, making it very wet and soggy.
Hey, look at him. He's got some airs on him. Okay, let's get outside. Mongo claps his hands together and rubs them. Once you're outside again, as much as you were tired of standing out in the rain before, it is refreshing to once again be, well, outside Slayer's crib. You don't know how long you would have been able to stand that without causing some kind of rumble. He leans against one of the enormous brutalist pillars and gestures at the steps for you to sit down. It's not like a large museum or civic hall or courthouse, large steps you can just occupy, and while there are plenty of them occupied, there's room for a squad of 3. So, what's your squad name? Do you already have one, or would you like me to assign one? You see, I've got all kinds of ideas.
We have a name, don't we? Tell him what it is, Opal.
I do not miss a beat, as if this is something that we had already discussed, whether we have or we have not. Blistering Rain.
Blistering Rain. Wow. I mean, if we're in the right place for a name like that, that's for sure. Now, I need to tell you, when I go to register that name, if it isn't registered already, if another team's already got it, you'll become Blistering Rain 1 or Blistering Rain 1-1 or Blistering Rain 1-1-1. You get the idea. But I think we'll be able to manage Blistering Rain. It's a little too poetic for most squads. Anyway, I'm going to slow down for a sec. It's good to have the 3 of you out here. Blistering Rain. Wow, what a name. So yeah, I got a BPN for you. But first I need you to sign up with me. I've got the paperwork right here. There it is. He opens his case. He is about to offer it around and then thinks better of it, passing it to Susanna Kropp.
I'll begin skimming the contract, saying, Well, let's have a little see here. But we do need to know what we're signing, Mr. Mingus. Don't want...
Oh, well, you can trust every single word I say. I mean, I'm looking out for your benefit, pal. If I wasn't here, I'd be someplace else, right?
Well, good. We certainly do want to trust you. We'd hate for there to be some sort of misunderstanding, and then we'd have a problem. I'll start looking over this contract, clearly trying to find where I imagine there'll be several things that do not benefit us, but benefit Mr. Mingus.
Absolutely. Do you have any admin and finance skills?
Let's see.
On your character sheet.
Streetwise.
It is a skill in the game. It is about the only game where knowing bureaucracy with admin and finance is a really good thing to have.
I'm afraid the closest thing would be streetwise, so actually, I don't think I do. I think it would just be my core.
Does Opal have any admin and finance?
No, sir, she does not. Forensics, but I don't think that's going to help here.
Well, I doubt Gaul has admin and finance.
Gaul does not.
In that case, Sasana Crop, could I ask you to roll 1d10? Your bonus is going to be your knowledge, so your no stat. You are looking, in this case, it's quite a high one because there's a lot of small print on here. You're trying to get 13 or higher.
I got a 12. Oh, wait, hang on. 8, 9, 10. I get 12, yes.
Do you have any luck points? Because you can spend a luck point now to bump that up to a 13.
Ooh, I think I have 2.
In that case, you could spend it. They refresh at the end of every session.
Then let's do that. Spend 1 luck point just to make it.
So that means you succeed, basically. Sasana Crop, could I ask you to roll your freebie skill die, please? So it's going to be 1 plus your knowledge rating again. You're still aiming for 13s or higher.
10, 11, 12, 13.
You hit it! Excellent! Okay. Well, in that case, yeah, you realise this contract has been written to be filled with jargon by intent. It's supposed to confuse the reader so that you just sigh and sign it. But under subsection D of paragraph 13... you quite quickly find a reference to full section A of paragraph 21. You start flipping through and you realise that section isn't there. Then, just looking down from that, you notice, you mentioned earlier you were skimming this contract. Skim is probably the right word because there's talk of the cut Mongo Mingus would actually take from any payment that you as a squad were paid. And it looks like on select BPNs undefined, Mongo Mingus can be expected to receive 80% of the squad's cut.
I will hum and ha, and I'll say, goodness me, sir. Seems to be something rather unusual here. Have you noticed that, I don't know if the printer's having a spot of bother, but you don't seem to have actually printed half the contract out. Do you notice this section's completely missing, for example?
Oh boy, not again. That's my dumb nephew. I put him in charge of these things, and he always makes these mistakes. I'll take it out on him later. Listen, I've probably got a spare one. He starts pulling paperwork
that's all right.
out of his
That's
case.
all right. How about for the moment we forego contract signing, or if we want to go contract signing, perhaps you see this part here, the 80%, a little high.
Oh, you don't have to pay attention to that right now, Mr. Farrokh said. No, not at all. Listen, we'll do things straight down the line, okay? How about that? 50-50. First BPN, 50-50. How about that? My final offer.
Does that seem a better offer, 50-50?
Well, it's definitely a better offer. It's still not a good offer, given that you're the ones who are putting your lives on the line and you don't even know what this BPN is yet. It could be a suicide mission.
I lean into Mongo, sensing that something is off here, and I put my head to the side, and the jewel continues to just run down, and I show my teeth. Well, I'm always showing my teeth. And I would like to try to intimidate the man.
You are very good at that, so can I ask you to roll 1d10? You only need to get a 10 or higher. You need to do 1d10, add your bonus, which is currently attached to Intimidate, please.
Yes, so I have a bonus of 8 on Intimidate, so I roll a 4, so that's a 12.
In that case, you definitely succeed, so now I need you to roll your ranks in that. +1, remember, you always get a freebie die. So, how many ranks do you have in Intimidate?
I have 3, so I will roll 4 dice.
And once again, add your bonus.
Then that's 4 successes, so all of them succeed.
Okay, maybe I was hasty. Listen, I'm not trying to bilk you. I'm not trying to wash you out or nothing like that. Okay, well, how about this? Okay, look, listen. Could you take a step back, please, Mr. Gall? No, you don't want to. That's fine as well. Okay. Right. 50-50, maybe that's too harsh. This is your first BPN. How about we review the terms after your first BPN? And maybe on this one, we call it, I think, given that you have just successfully broken this man's will by simply dribbling on his shoulder, I'll take 15%. 15%. That seems fair. I mean, I'm giving you a BPN. That's 8 hours of your life you're going to be getting back now because you're not in that queue. Remember, don't forget that. I'm giving you my cast iron guarantee that this BPN will see you right. And remember, there's a camera crew that's going to be following you, and so there's sponsorship. There's nothing in that contract about sponsorship. I'm not taking any cream off the top of any sponsorship deals you're getting. I'm just taking it from the principal. The whatever you get paid by the company, I get a cut of that, right? But if you start cutting sponsorship deals, like with Gash, like you said, then we'll deal with that on an ad hoc basis, and maybe I can take a little bit. I won't. What I'm saying is I don't have to take anything unless I, of course, put a lot of work in and I'm integral to any kind of deal of that kind.
That does sound like a more reasonable cut. Matthew, every single time he articulates out loud BPN, may I plant the thought or the suggestion that one way to de-escalate this entire situation to just completely remove himself from the jaws of Gaul would be to actually just disclose what that BPN is to us? That's the last thing that he needs to do to just solidify this whole misunderstanding and walk away from this safely. He should just show it to us.
He should, shouldn't he?
He should. So may I plant that thought?
Yes. Please go ahead. So tell us what power you are using here.
Absolutely. So this is going to be under my ebb disciplines. This is communicate, which is the plant thought, plant a simple suggestion, max 12 words into the subject's mind. That is going to be the suggestion. Like, if I just show them the BPN, I can de-escalate this entire situation and Gaul won't eat me.
Okay, I think I know a good way of de-escalating this situation. How about I just show you the BPN? Right, and then you can make it. Then you can make your mind up. Let me just fetch it from my case.
I smile at Sassenkrop, and then I look up at the rain because it actually feels amazing to be cooling off and in the cold air for once. And then I patiently wait because I'm very curious to see this BPN.
He pulls out a small rectangle of blue paper onto which has been typewritten or punched in the wording of a BPN that reads: Department of Sanitation requires squad of any skill set. Briefing. Squad required for urgent sewer clearance. Sector 4, District 11. Overalls and hand sanitizer not provided. Expect carnivorous entities. For further details, meet up with Shiver Sergeant Hartwell outside drainage entrance Gamma. There is a little box ticked to say Third Eye News are interested in this BPN. There are different kinds of BPNs. Some are associated with station analysis. They tend to be a little more clandestine. It's rare that you're going to get something sponsored by station analysis broadcast on the major news networks. But Third Eye News means, well, you can record the footage and then you can sell it. So that's good. There's also a credit bonus. You will be paid 200 credits per squad for this BPN. For sewer clearance, that may not be too awful. This is your first BPN, and there are only 3 of you. And it is a blue BPN. What that means is it is going to either be sanitation or street work, civil disturbances and the like. Now, sewer clearance is never going to sound like a terribly exciting mission. It is unfortunately where most slops start their trade. The good news is, for homicidal maniacs like Gaul, there are often things to murder in the sewers. The good thing for more pragmatic and, let's say, intellectual slops like Opal and Sasana Crop is the risks are significantly lower than, let's say, heading out into the cannibal sectors on a red or a black BPN. So the question is really, do you want this BPN, this blue BPN that's going to send you very deep down into downtown to a level none of you will have ever visited before, to help clear a sewer?
Well, it's hardly the most glamorous of BPNs, but it is a start, and we have a good deal going, and we've managed to get it, and, well, if it doesn't take too long, who knows, maybe we can move on to the next contract nice and quickly. I'll say to the team, sewer clearance, well, someone has to do it, and it may as well be us. Isn't that right, Mr. Mingus?
Oh, you're right, you are. That is exactly my way of thinking. That.
Sounds like there might be some killing to be done. I'm in.
That's right, and if I am only taking 15%, that's 30 credits off the premium, and that's 170 credits to split 3 ways.
Certainly, and I'll go and then lay my hand on Mr. Mingus, far more gentle than Gauls, and say, and you see, this will be hopefully the start of a good relationship. I'm sorry we had to, bust your balls, so they say down here, but, it's only because we're worth it, and you'll soon see that we're going to be worth the investment.
I have no doubt about that. How about now I need to register this BPN in your name, so that means I need to speak to some of my friends at the Department of Sanitation and actually check you in for this. So how about you make your way to downtown by the Gauss train, and I will meet you there. In fact, I'll get the camera team to meet you at the Manhole. Manhole's a club on District 2. Mostly crosstown traffic gangsters use it, but you don't have to go in, just stand outside. So you go out there, that's where the camera crew will meet up with you, and then you can mosey on down to District 11, right? Get all the way down there and get into that sewer and start clearing it, huh?
Sounds good to me. And make sure you get a good camera, not one of those cheap ones, one with full, all the features.
Oh, you betcha. Listen, it's sure is a swell to be doing business with you, all three of you right now. But I gotta get to the Department of Sanitation.
Yes, you run along now. Run along. There's a good chap.
And about the contract, I'll just register your squad name this time. But for the BPN. But after it's done, we'll talk about actual paperwork and getting you signed to my agency, right?
We'll see how it goes. You never know. We might not even come back. We might all be dead.
Oh boy, I sure hope that you get back.
Oh, don't worry. It was just a joke. A joke. I do. It's a sort of humor exchange. No. Oh.
Well, there are all kinds of things that live down, not just in the sewers, but that far deep in downtown. I'm sure you'll be fine. I mean, you got these big weapons. Is that a chuckle duster you got there, Mr. Gall? Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Anyway, go to the Manhole. See what you can find out about this District 11, okay? In Sector 4, I'm sure you might be able to get the lay of the land. Right you are. He goes running off, looking for a nearby Department of Sanitation outpost, of which there are many dotted throughout Mort City, leaving you to make your way to the Gauss train. Now, I need to ask you, squad, do any of you have spare credits that you wish to spend at this time, or do you want to get straight into the mission?
I don't see them on the sheet.
In that case, no.
But I will, turn to my team and say, well, that young fellow was certainly trying to rip us off, as they say down here, but I believe we successfully navigated his maze of lies and treachery and got ourselves a most worthwhile deal. Wouldn't you agree, team?
I look a bit confused at all the fancy words that you're using, but then I nod. I like the sandwich.
Yes, I believe that we negotiated a successful deal. Yes, the three of us complement each other well. There are a couple items that I wouldn't mind discussing prior to our departure, if that's okay.
Of course, Opal. I am always open to suggestion and feedback.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The agent was correct, whatever his name is. As a point of clarity, I really hate him. She's saying this with like this beautiful radiant smile, but she's dead serious. He was right about one thing. We should appoint a team lead. That boosts the efficacy of any squad and mission by 70 to 80%. And I think it should be you.
My goodness, Opal, I was about to open a public vote, but well, if your vote's for me, what about yourself, Gaul?
I look to you and I'm quiet for an uncomfortably long time. And then I nod. You know fancy words. I think best. You just point and let me know what to kill, and I'll kill that.
Well, thank you, Gaul, and I am honored to be elected leader of this unit, but don't mistake, but please don't think I'm going to misuse this power. As far as I'm concerned, all three of us are highly skilled individuals, and all three of us could, as a team, make some good progress in, well, the world of progress. Ha! See? That was... Okay. They do jokes down here, don't they? We tell an awful lot back home.
It was a very long, very exhausting line. Apologies for not finding much humor in many things right now. There's a second thing I wouldn't mind addressing. We are going to be delving into the sewers, which, well, the underground, the beneath, the below. That is going to boost our efficacy, mostly because if we've never been there before, this is going to be good experience for us. However, the camera crews are going to be meeting us above the muck, above the blood. I think it's important that we make a strong impression upon our arrival to the cruise, because once we get down below, Gaul is going to Gaul. We're going to do what we do, but it's going to be a much different show. I think those optics are important to establish now.
That's true. We need to make a good first impression, and then, I don't know, how do the editors do it? Make all the good cuts, mainly of Gaul, and not me leading from behind. Again, I'm not that good at the old physical stuff, but, well, that's why you two are here.
I nod. I look satisfied that I was appropriately heard in this moment, and now I'm ready to start walking.
And I will lead the way in a good mood. I think this is a good start, and you never know, maybe what's down in the sewers is something unpleasant for a reason, and getting rid of it will help someone in some way. It'd be good if we could get that on camera as well. Maybe we can get a civilian to see us and, show their appreciation. That would be good.
As you board the Gauss train, which of course costs you money, you have to fork over a handful of credits for the journey to go all the way from uptown to downtown. You have rode the Gauss train more than once. It's more than likely each of you will have accommodation dotted somewhere in downtown, depending on how good your accommodation is. Will be how close to the wall or how low down you happen to be. You may even be sharing with a civilian, willingly or not, or other slots of different SEL ratings, such as the way of things. And of course, you have to pay to travel. Nothing is free in Mort City, well, except the likelihood of a certain grisly death. But you ride the Gauss train, and as you do so, your minds, each of them, go back to when the three of you first met at Many University on campus grounds. Can you tell us, Opal, what is it that drew you first to Susanna Kropp and Gaul, who were already associated for reasons we will get onto?
I approach everything with as much rational thought as I can. I'm a planner. I'm calculating that much, or in that way. Most of my people are. Also, given our history, the servile nature tends to be embedded into us. The two of these individuals spoke out to me in particular because Gaul is Gaul. Genetically created to master these type of environments. I am not a basher. I am not a brute. I am not a tank. However, I can be very effective if paired with one. And the same is going to go for the Neofrond. You've heard them spoken about on the news. They're a conflict race. And even more than that, their numbers are very few on the SLA industry personnel list. Catching one of these brilliant negotiator avian creatures is a boon. So what drew me to these two particular individuals, they are unlike the rest. They are unique. And I think between the three of us, we can accomplish amazing things. It's a pure survival choice. Also, I do believe that we can decrease our SCL faster with a composition like this.
And so you entered into this relationship with business on your mind.
Well, business is all there is. Survival is business. Credits is business. This entire agency, this entire platform, this entire world, this entire company is a business. We are a walking business. We are walking entrepreneurs. So yes, it was a business decision. What other decision should be factored into this?
It's that thought, as you're looking at them now, that you are fixed on. But you're not in this train carriage alone. Just down the bench from you, there is a sleeping frother. A frother is a kind of chemically altered human from the land of Hiberia, which is north of Mort City. They tend to go around dressed in kilts. They wield power claymores. They adorn their faces with makeup and put their hair in dreads. Their name, Frother, is, well, because they're often frothing at the mouth. They are a drug-addicted people. From the womb to the grave, they come into this world with all kind of chemical dependencies, which, on the plus side, makes them incredibly robust when it comes to inducing, well, let's say a combat fervor, through use of drugs like ultraviolence and rush. But other times we'll just completely zone them out, as this one is. Who knows how long he's been riding this Gauss train, because he looks pretty much dead to the world. At the other end of the carriage is a less, well, not that the Frother's a particularly welcoming sight, but an even less welcoming one. You recognise their makeup from one of the lessons you took at Many University. They are known as pignics. It's a gang, a popular gang in downtown. They wear balaclavas, ski masks, often with false or real pig snouts attached to the front. They will wear leather aprons, and they will go around with machetes and meat cleavers. They are a disgusting group of brutes. And right now they are sitting around a civilian in a suit who looks very much out of her element and essentially poking her with one of the meat hooks they're carrying. Just mocking, ribbing. They're not paying any attention to you. What you were told at Many University is gangs like this and slops will, of course, occasionally come into contact with each other. They will occasionally clash. You'll have BPNs tasking you with dealing with gang conflict. But there are always risks in getting involved in gang affairs. If you insult one, you insult the mass of them. If you befriend them, well, that provides you with some potentially fabulous contacts down the line. The suit wearer, probably some exec from, based on the badge from where you are, Sasanacrop, you can read it, appears she works for the Department of Transportation. She looks utterly terrified by the lumbering gangsters around her, that number 5 in total. They occasionally squeal, quite literally in delight, as they make her shout out or shriek, "Get away, leave me alone." But most of the time she's just trying to look down and ignore them, waiting for her to stop.
I tilt my head, and my bird-like beak does frown ever so slightly. Gangs are gangs, and you have to respect them where they have their turf, but, well, the train is not their turf, and this seems like a good citizen, possibly on their way to do something useful or important. So I'm not entirely sure I approve this situation. I will look to Opal and Gaul and see if they're reacting in any way.
I think Opal will connect eye contact with you. I was also looking at that particular situation. And I hate to be this person, Matthew, but the very first thing I need to know after I can see that connective bond forming is, are there any cameras in sight? Will this be recorded somehow? That I just need to know, because that will factor into the decision making.
Can I ask you to make a detect roll, please, Opal? If you have any kind of detect or awareness skill, that would do the job.
Perfect. So I have detect. This is the same thing with the concentration, where the bonus is a 7, and I rolled a 5 on the success die.
Oh, wow. Okay, yes, in that case, now roll your ranks, please. +1, remember, for your freebie die.
Perfect. So I'm just talking this out loud. I have 3 ranks, so I am rolling 4d10.
Yep.
And the lowest that I have is a 5.
In that case, yeah, you can see that there were cameras on either end of this carriage pointing down, scrutinizing whatever takes place within, but both of them are busted. One of them is quite visibly so, the other one you're actually able to see that there's no light where there should be inside it, so it looks like it's working, but you have a trained eye. You know that camera's feeding nothing to no one.
Interesting. So no footage capture whatsoever in the event that we intervene in this particular situation?
No. Not unless one of you has a communicator headset that they wish to put on, or, dare I say it, a finance chip embedded in your brain.
Well, I do have a headset communicator.
As do I.
Hey!
So yeah, you could film this yourself in a sort of GoPro fashion. It's not going to be the best footage, but it would look like found footage, you know, recording something on a mobile, basically.
Well, I'll notice Opal, noticing the lack of cameras, and think to myself, well, you never know. Maybe I will turn mine on at this point, and I'll just get up, bold as brass, and I will approach. But before I do, again, I'm aware that when it comes to physicality, I am not the most intimidating fellow by a long shot. It's knowledge, that's how I get by, and I have quite high streetwise. When dealing with a gang like the Picnics, what's the best way to, at the same time, get them to leave this poor woman alone, but also not directly anger them, make it seem as if it's their idea to leave the woman alone? What do they want? What appeals to them? What's their sense of humour?
Yeah, that is very, very good. Let's see a roll for it, Craig. We'll go for a difficulty of 10. I would say higher typically, but it's such a good idea, we'll go for 10s.
Wonderful. So let's roll my success dice. That is over a 10. Yeah, that's done. 2 successful.
Lovely stuff. Okay, so the Picnics as a gang deal in all the kinds of things that gangs typically do. Drugs, people, weapons. Those aren't things you can just hand over right now, or not that you probably would feel inclined to move their attentions elsewhere. Their interests revolve around, well, humiliation, meat, and unis. That's cash currency, basically. Again, you can't really give them any of those. But what you could do is try and enter into a business arrangement with them. You know that gangs love to have a slop in their pocket. Even if you're not actually in their pocket, or in this case in their apron front, you could certainly distract them from their ritual torment of this poor woman by saying, hey, we're looking to make some friends. Now, it might not stop the humiliation forever, but it will give her some breathing space, maybe to move down the carriage.
That seems a good idea. I will go over and offer a respectful nod and say,
What do you want? What do you want? Slop.
well, just the fine folks I've been looking for. I've heard a great deal about your gang.
Can't you see we're busy?
Oh, so are you? Oh, my apologies. I just wanted to. I just know that you're one of the biggest, baddest gangs around, and I was hoping to, talk a little cash business, to get the layout on the land, so to speak.
Well, she owes us some money.
Oh, really? Who? This? Oh, hello.
Hi.
Do you owe these fine individuals some money?
I don't know them. Nah, don't lie. She's our girlfriend.
I look over and say, well, how much does she owe? I'm sure I can front it, especially when we're, a big successful team like myself. We're about to go on a mission, don't you know? We're going to, with that one, and I gesture over to Gaul and say, it's going to be quite messy.
The lead picnic A large lady in an apron that is stretched tight across her chest looks at you, looks at Gaul. What is Gaul doing during this?
Gaul has been zoning out, just looking out the train window, looking forward to all the killing that's going to be done in the sewer, and then I suppose he has noticed that there's things happening and the bird isn't standing by his side anymore and has gone off to talk to some people who look very violent, and that looks promising. So so I start heading over there. This could be good.
She owes us 20 unis.
I don't...
Shut up.
20 unis.
Yeah, you gonna pay her fee, slop?
She keeps looking from you to Gaul to you, spending longer on Gaul now as he's getting closer and closer.
Well, maybe 10.
You know what? 10 sounds like a reasonable amount, especially since I'll be in quite a bit of cash, quite a bit of unis very soon.
All right. Well, why don't you pay my piglet there, then?
Well, I haven't quite got it on me at the moment. I need to be paid for the current job I'm on.
What?
Oh, come on. You tell you what, if you let me IOU, let's get it back to 20. That seems reasonable enough.
IOU, what does that spell?
Oh, that's a form of currency exchange. It means that you get more money than you initially were going to get in the first place. It's quite a useful thing. I'm sure you know all about it.
I don't think so. I think you're trying to take us for a ride. You're trying to be intervening here in what is picnic business.
Oh, I wouldn't dream. I've heard that the last... What was it in the news recently? A whole bunch of people skinned alive by the picnic. That was you, wasn't it? It was extremely gruesome, very effective.
It has been known.
She says to Gaul now, who is now looming over her,
Listen, I don't want any trouble with you. It's your bird friend.
I look to my bird friend. Do I go off on one?
Oh, Gaul, not yet. We're having a negotiation, aren't we, friends? You know, Gaul doesn't need to go off on anyone, and he wouldn't want to anger the picnics after you're a very respectable bunch.
Listen, if one of you's got 10 unis on, then she can move on, it's fine. We just want to be friends. We're not trying to cause any fuss. Or you can go down to your end of the carriage, we'll stick on ours, and we'll leave her to us.
Well, you do...
We could enter into a deal. It's nice to have slop friends.
Oh, it certainly is, and it's always good to make friends with the locals, especially formidable ones such as yourself. Well, I suppose I can spare 10 unis. Secretly, I'm a little annoyed at having to spend 10 unis. I think that's practically all the pocket change I have, but, well, if it helps someone out, I'll do it. It'll look good on camera.
Well, it doesn't look that great, because you are currently paying gangsters cash, and so you hand over your pocket change. Gaul, you've never felt more disappointed in Susanna Crop.
He is the leader.
As he pays off the gangsters, they all have a good laugh about this. They pat the gang leader on her shoulders. They're all having a good chuckle about it was that easy to shake down a slop. This one must be real fresh from Many University. And so they decide to push their luck.
So what about you, big fella?
She says to Gaul.
How many unis have you got on you?
I look down to my chuckle duster and I start putting it on my knuckles, and I haven't gotten to use this one yet.
And there's camera in here,
she says, pointing up at the camera that is not working.
That's great. Actually, that's even better. I look to Susanna Crop, because if you're not going to stop me, I'm going to go off on this one.
The Department of Transportation lady uses this excuse to basically duck under Gaul's arm and run to the frother end of the carriage.
I'll look to the cameras. I'll look at my own. assess the situation, turn it off, decide, yes, this isn't actually the sort of footage I wanted, really. And I'll say to Gaul, and the others, oh, well, here's the funny thing. Gaul doesn't have any money on him at the moment. He was actually looking to borrow 10 unis. Weren't you, Gaul?
Yeah, I need to buy some piggy wiggies.
Piggy wiggy, that's imitation stuff. We only deal with real pigs in the picnics. Listen,
she says, looking down at the chuckle duster that's slipped over your claws.
we don't want trouble with the Stormer, okay? If you don't have the credits, you don't have the unis, that's fine.
I think you owe me, don't you?
Yes, I think they do, Gaul.
Let's go for an intimidate roll from you, Matthias, please. Or from Gaul, please. Now, she is backed up by her gang, so I'm going to elevate the difficulty a little to 13. It's probably not... She knows it's not in her best interest to refuse a Stormer his demand for some unis, but she also doesn't want to lose face in front of her piglets.
Indeed. That is exactly 13. I roll a 5 plus 8.
Good stuff, Matthias. So now I need you to roll your ranks, please. Remember, +1 for your freebie die.
2 that goes above 13.
She is extremely reluctant to yield the unis that she has just earned. But your intimidation, the terror that comes with the drool that drips from between your teeth and just splats on her boots, it starts to penetrate her piglets as well. The gangsters around her, they love the idea of a fight. They don't love the idea of being butchered, which is ironic, given that they are wearing pig noses. They exchange a glance. Come on, give him the unis, boss. She puts her lumpy hand into her apron pocket, pulls out the unis just given to her by Susanna Krop.
Will these do?
I think they'll do just fine, won't they, Gaul?
That'll do.
Wonderful, Gaul. We could go back and sit down. Again, thank you so much. We let it... No one... I will spread the word that the picnics not only are honourable, but also dangerous. Dangerously honourable. A good combination. A winning combination.
They're really not sure what to make of being described as an honourable gang. Obviously, the gang is considerably larger than just this tiny contingent, but they kind of look at each other and realise, you know what? The getting's good. There's a stop coming up. Let's just get off of this train. And so they nod. She nods hesitantly.
Yeah, that sounds that sounds like a plan. Dangerous, more than honourable, right?
Oh, most certainly. I was genuinely concerned for my safety for a moment.
The train comes to a halt.
All right, come out. Let's go.
She makes a "I'm watching you" gesture at the Department of Transportation employee, and then some more executives and civilians enter the carriage. As far as you can tell, none of them are wearing gang colours now. The frother is still asleep next to you, but peace has been returned to the Gauss train.
Is that agent from transportation still on the train? She didn't get off this stop?
She did not get off this stop, and it's likely that even if she wanted to, she probably wouldn't have, based on the picnics getting off here.
I would have loved to have grabbed her after she kind of escaped under Gaul and got out of that situation to, one, exchange contact information, and to remind her that we made a choice to intervene on her behalf and that she should remember Blistering Rain.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm usually... I carry a taser, but when there's 5 of them, you can't just... It's not really worth the risk. I've got an LAD account, of course, in case I get killed, but I've heard what they do to the bodies, the picnics, and they say LAD coverage doesn't extend to full dismemberment and skinning.
I nod. I smile very patiently. You made the right decision. and you maintain control of your fear. That's something to be proud of.
Right, well, thank you. Well, I guess I owe you now, so thank you very much for that. Bethany Vikander. She puts her hand out.
I am going to extend my hand. Opal of Squad Blistering Rain, please allow me to introduce our team lead, Sassencrap, and Gaul. And it's a very business arrangement. At this point, I'm just making introductions to solidify our names, our faces, and this experience. And again, drilling down on we made a choice to intervene on a civilian's behalf, because that's what we're here to do.
An absolute pleasure, citizen. And yes, I hope you will remember the name, Blistering Rain. This is what we do, helping the people of this city whenever, however. We'll come up with something better than that.
Gosh, you're just like the slops on TV.
We're the good guys.
She doubts that, but she's not going to correct you. She straightens her suit and she gives each of you a handshake, even you, Gaul, and doesn't complain about the uncomfortable tightness before backing away. Well, I dare say I'm not exactly a high-end exec, but I'll put in a good word with the Department of Transportation on your behalf. Where is it you're headed?
I wrote it down. What is it? Sector 4, District 11, Manhole. I mean, I will go through a very almost militarized repetition of what Mongo gave us.
Well, you're going to find it difficult getting any transport down to District 11. All the way down there, the roads kind of disappear. There aren't many taxi companies that would take you, so there's probably a lot of walking involved. I imagine I tell you what, did you say you were going to the manhole first?
Yes.
In District 2?
In District 2, yes.
I can, if you make a call using the booth outside there to this number, and she passes you a card, I'll get you a driver who can take you as far down as well, any driver will go, and this is a good driver. I rely on him a lot when I'm in the worst parts of the city. It'll be safer for you than schlepping the whole way on foot.
Well, that is most appreciated. My thanks.
It's no, really, I'm very grateful, thank you. And then the train comes to a halt. This is my stop, I guess. Thank you, Blistering Rain. I won't forget. Remember, call that number. She says.
We certainly will, and don't you forget. Keep your eyes glued to your screen. I'm sure you'll be seeing us soon.
I always do. I mean, it is the law, right? And the carriage doors close. The next stop will be yours.
Wonderful. And Gaul, can I just say, excellent job. You know what? You keep those 10 unis. You've earned them.
All right. I look genuinely positively surprised at that. You can buy a lot of piggy wiggies for 10 unis.
And well done, Opal, as well. What do you think? The footage might need a little editing. But maybe if we, cut the first part, and then the last part, and then, the savvy, the grateful citizen, we can cut some of the middle parts. What do you think?
I don't know if any of this footage is particularly salvageable, but I think the relationship that we've established with Bethany Vikander maybe.
No, it's always good to get a second opinion. I think you're right, and I'm going to delete the footage, but the contact, at least, I feel happy having earned.
Now, do any of you have a finance chip listed on your character sheet?
That's a no.
No, not that I'm seeing.
No.
As you're approaching your final stop, Gaul, you are reminded, or at least your mind flashes back to when you first met Sassencrop. This was at Many University. You were being briefed on the importance of diligence, of scrutiny, of observation. You were in a waiting room, and in this waiting room, each one of you would one at a time be brought before a representative from Cloak Division We are always watching. And Cloak Division, we're listening. Other such comforting slogans. You were all given a 15-minute, basically, presentation on what Cloak Division like to hear, what Cloak Division like to see, and what they want from SLA Operatives. And one day, they say, maybe you'll get a chance to work for Cloak, or maybe you'll get to do a white BPN investigation, get to solve some of those crimes littering the streets of Mort City. It was when you were being led in to the meeting room, Gaul, that you had your first exposure to a finance chip. The rather faceless, emotionless, expressionless bureaucrat on the other side of the desk, which felt more like an interrogation than a presentation, just stared into your eyes, Gaul. So you are sure we cannot interest you in a finance chip, Gaul? Let me remind you of its benefits. You will be given a 200 credit bonus for its installation. It will act as a permanent camera behind your eye, meaning you do not have to go around carrying equipment with you. You will be able to access your balance at any time, and it will also act as a transponder for the purposes of LAD, so should you die on the job, as it were, Shiver paramedics will be able to find you, recover you, and providing you have not suffered too much damage, reconstruct you to put you back out in the field.
Well, the idea of something behind my eyes seeing what I see, it doesn't feel good. I'm going to do so many things that I don't think people should see. I mean, some of it I want on TV. Some of it I definitely don't want there. I don't want anyone to know about that. So, and this reconstitution thing, that's a big word. Means they're gonna put me back together? Is that it? Why would I need that? My body handles that just fine. By itself. No, this doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound like something I need. I just say, no.
Oh, very well. Many slops take the same decision as you, Gaul, although do be aware that you can at any point change your mind, especially if you wish to be a friend to Cloak Division. I should say, for the sake of clarity, this does not make you an enemy of Cloak Division.
Good.
Well, in that case, please send the next one in. I believe there is a Neophron in the waiting room. A Sasana Kroppa Farouk Zad. Are you familiar with this Neophron, Gaul?
We've met.
Then before you depart, for the purposes of our records, summation. What do you think of him? What do you think of his loyalties?
He's got a good head.
Mm-hmm.
He seems nice. Like he actually cares.
So possible unionist, then. Very well. Please send him in.
And I will do so.
As you depart, you see Susanna Crop sat there in the waiting room. Are you going to give him any kind of warning or heads up?
I will. They want to put a chip in you. I said no. I don't want no chip.
I lower my tone and nod and say, that's expected. I think you made the right choice, Gaul.
Happy to hear that.
And the train reaches the station. You are now on the topmost district of downtown. The only way is down from here. You're in the right sector, Sector 4, but you need to make your way down through the winding warrens, this hive-like structure, down lower and lower. Luckily, your first stop isn't too low down. The second district, second level, in the pizza. And so You can probably make your way there on foot pretty reasonably. Life in downtown isn't quite reflected in uptown. There's a lot more gang presence here. There's a hell of a lot more shiver presence here as well. So there's a huge number of individuals strutting around in body armor of various kinds. The businesses in downtown tend toward the seedier, the grimier. There's a lot more bars, clubs, and, well, pits for fighting, that kind of thing. The streets are clogged with traffic. And the rain, the further out you get from head office somehow, the harder it is, the more corrosive it is. They say that the lower down you go in downtown, the less you feel the rain. It makes sense. Everything's built on top of each other. So by the time it reaches you, let's say as deep as District 11, the water isn't exactly flowing straight down. Instead, it has passed through 11 levels of residence, commercial, industry, outflows, chemical plants, and therefore the liquids running down the waters in those depths don't tend to be the kind of things you want on your skin, especially not on your tongue or in your stomach. So, as much as it's acid rain here from a blasted sky, at least it's not going to poison you just by standing out in it. But you know where you've got to go. You've been told you need to head to the Manhole, a club where the crosstown traffic apparently rule the roost. Crosstown traffic are one of the largest gangs, maybe the largest gang in Mort City. Known for their garish colours, they often wear combinations of tartan. They DNA tattoo their skin and hair so that they can basically look and appear almost as moving images. It's quite stunning. They are, of course, as violent and unpredictable as any other gang, but maybe more than any other, because they are such mainstays of downtown, they have the most respectful relationship with SLA Operatives. They're unlikely to just pop a shot off at you for no good reason. They know better than that. So, before you head down to District 2, is there any business you wish to attend to in one of the upper districts? It's okay if there isn't. Or if you want to get straight to the job, you can head to the Manhole.
I think if none of the team need anything, I'm happy to head to the Manhole. Again, I actually have some equipment that will be helpful for the sewers. I do have a flashlight and a little medical kit as well, just in case anyone gets hurt.
Those will be very useful.
I stopped by a vending machine to pick up some piggy wiggies with my unis.
You put a couple of unis in the vending machine. As the piggy wiggy is about to spit out at you, there's a noise. The piggy wiggy is half protruding and then gets sucked back into the machine.
I struggle to contain my rage, and I don't think I succeed. I will tilt this machine until those piggy wiggies come out.
There's a crowd on the street, and most of them aren't paying attention to you, but some of them are. Look at the slop wrestling with the vending machine! You start giving the vending machine a shake, and you think it's going to require a hard kick to really dislodge those cans of piggy wiggy.
And that's exactly what I'll do.
Look at that! That slop's engaged in property damage. Someone get that on camera! There's a kid that steps forward with a shoulder-mounted camera. It looks enormous for her. Can you kick it again, Mr. Stormer? The piggy wigs are now pouring out onto the pavement.
I look at all the goodness that has come out in front of me, and I will pick up the one that I was owed and leave the rest. I'm no thief, after all.
Just a vandal.
Well.
And I'll quickly come over as he does that and look at the young boy and say, Now, a bit of a misunderstanding. My associate here wasn't vandalizing the machine, he was trying to fix it.
Yeah, I got it on camera, she says, lowering the camera.
Excellent, young girl. Yes, it's good you've got her on camera. You can show everyone that even Stormers are capable of basic maintenance skill. The wonders of science today.
Looked to me like he was just trying to steal something from the machine.
Well, clearly not. He's taken his one that he's owed, and all these other ones, well, let's put them back together, young man. Or girl. Or child.
She looks at you as if you are a bird from another planet, because that's what you are. She taps the camera and she says knowingly from her dirt-streaked face, "Well, I guess we'll let the public decide, won't we?"
We certainly will. The public know best.
And if no one intends to stop her, she will disappear into the crowd with her camera. That might be for the best. After all, picking on a child or stealing a child's camera might be seen as maybe a bridge too far. But then again, she does have footage of Ghoul manhandling a vending machine. So how serious a crime is that, though? That's the real question.
Well, that'll be for the auditors to decide, and he is a stormer. Not his fault. I'd even argue that saying there was a problem with what he was doing will be implying there's a problem with the Stormer program, and no one wants to criticize the Stormer program.
Now that is true. You could certainly give that narrative. You are a natural politician.
I do try. For now, I'll very quickly do my best to attempt to just neatly stack back some of those piggy wiggies, and then leave the scene.
Yes. As you are leaving, a group of urchins and grown-ups as well, who were just standing around, quickly take advantage of the neatly stacked pile of Piggy Wiggy cans, and, they don't have to pay for them now. That's dinner sorted. You have just enabled a theft.
I rip the can open and begin enjoying it.
With your enormous tongue, Gaul, you could basically scoop out the entire contents of this can in one long slurp.
I'll do that. No nibbling this time.
And I'll gently say, well done, Gorgeous, just in the future, remember, sometimes we need to try and not immediately destroy the equipment, especially if it's property owned. Try is the word, and I think you were trying, so, good effort.
The machine was trying to cheat me, just like those gang members.
As Gaul says this, he's spitting bits of Piggy Wiggy out at you because they're still in his mouth. You have to admit, Gaul, this tastes a lot better pure. When it's wrapped in bread like that sandwich earlier, it's just taking away from the meat. And what you really need is fat and protein, and that's what keeps you going.
I like meat.
On that, you and the pignicks have something in common.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the scenario The BPN Blues for SLA Industries 2nd edition, which is published by Nightfall Games. Gamemaster was Matthew Dawkins, and we were also joined by Bridgett Jeffries. The music was created by Sabled Sun, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Please check out cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some more dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, Graham Barey, and Doug Thomson for their generous support. We would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost, Call of Cthulhu, and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay there. You can also get early and raw access to all of our recordings, and hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as even play some Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that the rain never stops falling in Mort City.